Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you can learn to make more money in less time and have a lot more fun, which is the most important part. So I have Wes and Chris from Blue Collar Marketing here. They're going to teach you how to have fun, right, guys?
Yeah, there we go.
Cool. And I their website, you should check out their website. It's with bluecollarmarketing.ca, and it has some really good rap music on it. I thought it was excellent. That was cool. So Wes or Chris, tell me a little bit about your backstory, how you got what you do and why you do it and that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I can dive in there quickly. So Chris and I actually met at university, and one of the summer jobs we had was basically like working for a property maintenance company. We were not treated the best, to be completely honest with you. So we decided one day, leaning against my crappy car, just being like, you know what, we should call our boss and just kind of quit and do this ourselves. So that's basically exactly what we did. We called the guy, we quit, we started a company the next day. And we ran the company basically doing like all types of like property maintenance services, like deck building, interlocking, landscaping, all that kind of stuff for 3 years before kind of selling our client list. And we had like a lot of fun. So that was kind of like really good experience on the blue collar side of things. And one of the things that we really enjoyed about the actual business itself was the marketing aspect. So after we kind of sold our client list, we were thinking like, what the hell kind of do we do next year as we were finishing up university? We decided to start a marketing company. So it was all kind of self-taught through running our own business, like a lot of our clients do now. And at first, we were started off as like a generalist agency. We worked with companies in every industry, basically. So what we realized after 3 years of success is that it was tough to build like a sustainable business, kind of going with just about everybody. You know what I mean? We were stretching our marketing dollars thin and all this kind of stuff. And it's tough to kind of streamline solutions and really become experts when you're serving everybody. So we kind of went back to our roots, like what we had a lot of experience in, and got the wheels in motion to kind of launch Blue Collar Marketing, which we ended up doing last November. So it's been a little over a year now as Blue Collar Marketing here. And yeah, basically we offer website design, logo design, social media management, and media production for, small to medium-sized construction companies across North America. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that, Chris, but I think that's the gist of it.
Yeah, big time. No, that's basically the gist of that there, Paul.
Okay, so what do you have a degree in? Not that it matters these days.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a bachelor's of commerce. So we both went to Queens there, but I did BCom, and then Wes did economics.
I see. Most people go into something totally unrelated to what they graduate. And with AI coming out, school may be not even happening anymore, right? In the next 10 years. So, Wes, here's a question. How much should a company allocate for marketing? Because there's two kinds of marketing. There's like paid response, like Facebook and that kind of stuff. And there's building a brand, right? There's a sort of different kind of things. So let's say a $3 million company, okay, that does, I'm going to say home remodeling just because we have a lot of those. So how much should a home remodeling company does 3 million, say they net, if they're doing good, they're netting 10%, so net 300,000. How much should say they spend on marketing? Let's say they're going to pick up a market, Boston. And what should they do?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So in terms of like what we focus on, we very much focus on kind of those four things I mentioned. So, graphic design, the logo side of things, websites, social media management, and the media production side. So we would first and foremost like take a look at their website and just make sure that if we're going to start advertising for this business, that we optimize the place where we're going to be sending this traffic, right? There's no point in spending tens of thousands of dollars in advertising if you're sending it to a website that's, not optimized to convert that traffic. So first and foremost, we would start with that. Typical website usually costs between like $3,000 to $5,000 Canadian for us. Okay. If we do something a little bit more advanced, it can get in that $10,000 to $20,000 range, but it kind of all varies based on the business. And then for something like that, like just based on kind of the numbers that you described, we would probably recommend getting them set up on social media management and some media production services as well too. So that could typically range anywhere between like $1,000 to $2,000 a month Canadian again there. So that would allow them to basically have like an absolutely like beautiful, stunning website that's going to convert very high, and then just have like great brand continuity and really kind of control their messaging across all platforms that way. So basically, whether someone's scrolling on Instagram or Facebook and just stumbles across them, Or if somebody goes on Google and it's like intent driven traffic from somebody interested in buying something from them, they're fully covered. So I think that's kind of the approach that we take with most clients in that range.
Okay, so now, do you do geofencing? Because a lot of people don't understand what that is, right? He could take a neighborhood or an area and say, just want to market there. Could you explain that? Because a lot of clients don't understand how that works.
Explain the what'd you say there, Paul? Geofencing?
Geofencing. In other words, when you're saying, okay, I'm in Vancouver or someplace, right? And I don't want to take the whole city of Vancouver. I just want these 3 neighborhoods to do remodeling or roofs or HVAC, whatever. And they don't want to take the whole city on because it's way expensive and they can't afford it anyway. So could you explain to some of the people listening here how you could pick a 1 mile radius or something like that, and you want to do roofs, you want to do HVAC, and they can just focus on that? Is that possible?
Yeah, so I think from like when you go into like more, it's more of like a paid traffic kind of campaign thing. So if you're looking at anything like in terms of Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google pay-per-click, or even their display network there, it gives you a lot of like granular control in terms of where you can actually advertise. So like limiting it down to like even like the postal codes, like kilometer radiuses, mile radiuses, as you said there, Paul. It does give a lot more control on that side. The good thing too, when you look at like the organic stuff in terms of like the socials, you kind of go for more of that like broader umbrella there. A little bit tougher to kind of narrow down in terms of going neighborhood by neighborhood there. But the great things with like, again, like paid campaigns when it comes to the Google networks, Facebook and Instagram there, it allows you to have a little bit more of a granular control. So yeah, if you're just trying to target, certain cities or certain neighborhoods within your actual location there, then that's a great way to do it. One thing you definitely have to keep in mind though, is that the more granular and the more focused you go, the higher your cost per click will go, or like the higher cost per lead, just because it'll be so targeted in terms of the traffic that you're trying to send to your location there, and just making sure you're also targeting an area that is large enough to make sure it's going to be worth your while for whatever kind of paid campaign you have there. But yeah, to your point there, makes it very easy to kind of customize and control where you're actually targeting your advertising.
Okay. And then how do clients figure the ROI in marketing? Because there's the whole, what do you call it? Brand building thing, which may take years to figure out. And there's pay-per-click, which takes 5 minutes to figure out. So how do you judge when you're getting a lead, what it costs to get that lead? And you give me some numbers that you work with some clients and what they figure it costs to create a lead, and then how much it costs to get a sale.
Yeah, I think on that note, you have to take a very kind of hybrid approach on that when you kind of balance between building up a brand and also trying to get something in terms of more targeted lead generation. I think when you're kind of combining your marketing budget at the beginning of the year or beginning of the quarter there, you have to kind of see like what that business's goals are. So if they're in a position where they need leads like right away, like that is like the number one goal, then definitely going towards like the paid advertising route is going to be much more beneficial than trying to do something that takes a long term or a long time to actually sustain results, such as like search engine optimization or like social media. Like those things take a while to actually kind of get rolling there. But again, the Google networks, the Facebook and Instagram make it so easy for you to kind of see like what your ROI is. For example, you send 100 people to your website there, 10 people click through and you paid $50 per person there. Let's say that's $500. And then your ticket price for each sale is going to be, between, if you're doing like HVAC or something a little more high ticket, between $2,000 to $3,000 per client there. So you kind of get like more granular in terms of like the numbers that you're looking for on that side when it comes to an actual return. But it's very much going to depend on, I guess, like what that business's goals are at the start, and then kind of peeling back from there. So if and there's tools that you can use to kind of get like an estimated cost per click or an estimated like just cost per lead, and then going from there and just trying to make sure it balances with like the average ticket price of a sale there. Again, it's so hard to give like concrete numbers because it's so dependent on like what the industry is, what location it is. Because for example, like excavation in Ottawa can be a lot more expensive than like excavation in like Parry Sound or in Perth or something, just because it's such much more of a populous place. So it's, again, taking a look at the numbers and just making sure that your guys' goals are matching with how much you're looking to spend.
Now, you said there's some instruments. What kind of instruments other than Google Analytics can our listeners use to find out where the leads are coming from and if they converted? Do they tie in with an CRM like HubSpot or something, or how do they get that all to work?
Yeah, so you can definitely use your CRM for sure, and then also too, like on the platforms themselves, like Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, they have their internal like insights and analytics there. So you can harness all that kind of stuff without paying anything as well too, which is really nice. The nice thing too is like if you've got like your website and everything set up properly as well too, like when you get a contact form submission, you should be able to see like exactly like the time, the place, and the page, like where that form submission comes through. So you can see like if we created a landing page, it's kind of like Chris's point, like excavation in Ottawa. If we created a landing page for that, like we can see like how much traffic's going exactly to that with Google Analytics, and then through the website forms, we can see exactly how many submissions are actually coming through there. So there's a handful of different ways, but I think like first and foremost, like someone when they have a website and stuff, they should always have the Google Analytics and Google Search Console set up as at least like a bare minimum, and then get your tracking pixels set up with Facebook and everything like that afterwards.
Okay. Now, do you do mostly commercial or residential or a little both?
It's very much. Go ahead,
you.
Go ahead. Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, it's mainly like I'd say like we do like a heavy split in both there, and to kind of talk about almost like in terms of like what advertising, you know, routes are more effective. Like commercial and like civil clients are very, very different than when it comes to like residential clients. Like just in terms of like how people are searching on the internet, like it's much more of like going for a process where like you're doing like more in bids and tender sites where you're going to kind of secure those bigger commercial and civil contracts, where it's like, you know, residential is going to have, in my opinion, a lot more success when it comes to using, you know, tools such as like Google ads, Facebook ads, and Instagram ads. The commercial and like the civil market is definitely a little bit of a trickier spot when it comes to the advertising. And that's when things such as like building up the brand helps a lot more on that side, and just making sure that they are seen as like a very valid and reputable source for whatever, you know, service provider like a commercial or civil contract is looking for there.
Okay. Next question. Rumors of AI, right? I've heard, in fact, I tried one yesterday. Actually, I have some client who's using AI to call their clients, you know, and set up appointments. I tried it. It's a little bit, I mean, it hesitates. The conversation was great. I have to give it, the conversation worked, but there was a hesitation. I'd say, well, what is this job for? And when are they going to apply? And they'd respond, but there was probably a second or two, which made it seem not natural. I assume they're going to fix that eventually. But do you guys use AI in any kind of your marketing at all at this point?
Yeah, definitely. Like it's AI's like, first and foremost, like it's growing at such an exponential rate where like even like the problem that you're talking about there, Paul, will probably be solved within 6 to 12 months there. Like I think you can never negate like the benefits of having like a personal touch when it comes to actually doing the marketing. But where I find like where Wes and I use like AI the most, I think is a lot more into like the data side, or just like using like file analysis, helping us create like content, copy, brainstorming content ideas. I find it's like very, very good for that. You have to be tough just in terms of, and like Google came out with like their helpful content update, where you don't want to just start like putting out a bunch of AI generated content on the web. That just doesn't really work. And there's a lot of fluff that comes with that there. But in terms of like using AI almost as like an assistant to your work is where we find the most success. And now so many, creative tools, so many like data analytic tools, so many like ads tools are now incorporating AI, where you have, you know, very easy to use programs such as like Canva are now partnered with companies such as like Runway, which is one of the forefront leading technology companies when it comes to AI on the creative space, to now whip up like great presentations, cool graphics, easy ways for like to Photoshop things right there on the site. So AI is definitely leading in terms of being a great tool for people to use in combination with a lot of the other efforts that they have there, I'd say.
I noticed ChatGPT was a lot easier to use in the beginning. Like in the beginning, I just answered questions, and now like it stalls, it takes a while. I guess it's got a lot of competition out there now. So back to you, Max and Chris. What do you think are the best AI programs out there today? This may change in 2 weeks, I realize that, but like what do you think are the best AI programs to generate content, to generate like, you know, blogs and that kind of stuff?
Cool. Yeah. So definitely OpenAI. So OpenAI is like the parent company for ChatGPT. And a lot of people have more success like actually going through their API, like the actual API rather than ChatGPT itself. So that's super great for creating
now,
content.
how do you go through the API versus just ChatGPT? You lost me there. Explain what that means.
Yeah, no worries. So there's this thing that OpenAI has called like the playground, where you can essentially like create like an API key. It's definitely like if you are a small business person and just want to start start using AI, don't go the API route. Maybe went a little bit too technical on that side, but there's like a lot more use for that for like companies that are kind of support these industries. So it's more something that you can set up and then integrate with different technologies. So like that's what a lot of like these bigger companies are doing to kind of deliver tools like that. But back to like the main point there, Paul, I definitely say ChatGPT, which is again done by OpenAI. DALL-E 3 is also a kind of like sub product of OpenAI, which is great for like creating images, analyzing images, as well as just like analyzing files, which is again much more on the ChatGPT side. Canva now is integrating very well with AI in the sense that they partner with a company called Runway. So when it comes to like creating graphics and creating slideshows, to converting those slideshows into PDFs, to just really helping with your creative process, Canva is great and now integrates very well with AI. If you're a little bit more on like the creative side, Photoshop now and Adobe is now really taking AI to storm in terms of just how they're making their integrations with like the generative fill and all those different things that kind of make editing now a lot more easier than it used to be in terms of that learning curve. So I definitely say, yeah, ChatGPT, Canva, in terms of most small businesses would be my kind of top two there.
Okay. There's one called Propensity AI, I think Perplexity or something like that. AI I was using. It's a search engine. I mean, they keep coming out every week, right? Depending on what you're looking for.
Big time.
So Max, what are your favorite AI? Wes, I mean.
Oh yeah, no worries. No, I think just to add to that, I think one of the other ones that our team uses a decent amount is Motion, just to help with like scheduling and everything like that. So that's another big one as well too, just allowing AI to kind of actually like take all this information. Here's what I need to get done. Here's how long these tasks are going to take. Like best fill my schedule. And kind of as new things come in, it'll adjust accordingly and kind of learn on the way you work.
Is that like Monday.com or the same kind of thing?
I think it's a little bit a little bit different. It's kind of similar in the sense like there's a handful of them like that. But yeah, it's gonna basically go through and like optimize your schedule and just make sure that like you're using your time in the most efficient way.
Okay, cool. So next, give me one of your biggest success stories and one of your biggest failures and why. Wes, you can start. I'll have Wes do the up and I can have Chris do the down.
Yeah, okay, I like that. In terms of biggest success stories, I would probably have to go with our website design that we did for Ken White Construction. If we were going to do this on like a client basis, basically just because of we built a website for them, and it was kind of very much like we were looking at seeing like, okay, like what is kind of the real opportunity with this? And he has like a very good following on social media and everything like that. So we really just wanted to make sure that we knocked this thing out of the park. He was going to absolutely love it, like we do with all of our clients, but this one meant a little bit more just because the stage was a little bit bigger. And he's such a reputable and just like well-liked figure in this kind of industry. And that website went extremely well. Like, he absolutely loves the website and everything. And he wanted something that, really talked about his family's history, but also to combine that with like the direction that he's taking the company.
What kind of company is it, Wes?
Yeah, Ken White Construction is an excavation contractor. So they primarily do like demolition, septic systems, site work, all that kind of stuff. So basically we built that website and it really kind of had a focal point on the family, and basically his grandfather started it and then his dad took it over, and now he's kind of getting groomed for that role as well too. So it was just a really fun project, and it's gotten a lot of exposure because of the platform that he has on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and just running the ConExpo, ConAg kind of podcast that way. So that was a really cool project, and I would say like one of our best successes as a team, from the sales side right down to the creative element. So
just for fun, how much money did he invest and how much work did he get? So already he's going to have an idea what good ROI looks like.
Yeah, that's a good question. So in terms of the actual like ROI, like we don't work together on like an ongoing basis to be able to kind of like monitor that with him. It was very much like, here's your custom website and we're going to manage and maintain the thing very much. But the nice thing is, it's like if you get a septic system job to the website, let's say it's $40,000, website only costed around, $12,000-$13,000. It's like there's an immediate ROI. You know what I mean? So the nice thing being, a site works contractor is that their jobs are such high ticket that realistically you need one job to kind of have a nice ROI on that side of things. So I think it would have been achieved like quite quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing on that too, that I'll just add, less on the work side of things and more kind of related to the stuff that you do, because we were able to put up like a nice career section on that side of things, he can now easily like take in resumes, highlight kind of what it's like to work there, the values of all that kind of stuff, just to really show like, hey, like this is why this is such a fantastic place to work. And it's allowed him to, you know, take in more resumes and all that kind of stuff on that side of things, which it's tough to measure that ROI, but
Yeah,
having
it's tough. I'll tell you, bad employees are expensive, but we all know that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think they're saying like the average hiring mistake costs you around like $35,000-$40,000 with the time invested in, you know,
Right.
interviews, training, all that kind of stuff. So being able to have, you know, kind of the pick of the litter and be able to hire like very good people for long term is super important that way. So I think that's another component of this project.
Okay, Chris, tell me something that didn't work and why you think it didn't work, because we all have those, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think kind of like maybe one thing comes to mind in terms of just how we work is like more on the web development side is like we're very kind of stringent in terms of like how we develop sites. Like we develop sites in one very specific way. We use one content management system. We use one type of theme. We use the same kind of stack of plugins. So this kind of allows us to have something that's very, very streamlined and allows like less of a risk in terms of like things going wrong on the website. And this very much kind of like led off of like one time I think we were onboarding a client, and typically like our policy is that we do not work with website or put websites on our servers that we haven't developed our own selves. And very much is kind of like in the midst, just because this must have been 2, 3, 4 years ago where we had a client who basically just really, really wanted to work with us, but did not want to upgrade their website. And we're like, okay, sure. Like we know you, no problem at all. And that person ended up kind of sending us a virus in the site file.
That's not good.
Yeah, exactly. Which then took about 2 days of effort to make sure that everything else was clean on that server that, you know, had about 5 or 10 other sites on them. So I'd say, like, to be honest, there's not too many things that come up that have gone overtly wrong with our business model. But now that we're just so rigid in the way that we operate, it definitely helps us stay a little bit more on the safe side. So I'd say that would be like that's kind of like one of the main things that I think are coming up in terms of like the potential failure on that
so
side.
People need to do it. We do the same thing in recruiting. If people vary from our recruiting, it doesn't work, because if we spent years figuring this out and it works, right? Same thing with websites. You know what works, you know what, and you have a system that works. And people want to hire you, they need to your system, not create their own, because you've already figured it out, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just staying nice and strict with what we know works. And if it fits with the client, fantastic. If it doesn't, then it just might not be the best fit for them, which is totally okay at the same time.
Okay.
One other failure just to add too is we used to have a fish tank behind me in this office here. That was like 125 liters or gallons. It was a big fish tank, and that exploded in the office. So that would be my most notable failure from the business side of things.
I see. Well, the fish didn't like it either, I'm sure. That was bad for them, right?
No, it was a costly mistake for sure.
Yeah, they're better in the water than the
air. Yeah. So, Chris, if people want to get a hold of you and they like what you're talking about, how can they reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first and foremost is kind of just going on our website there, bluecollarmarketing.ca, get to learn a little bit more about kind of the services that we offer and just see if it'll be a right fit with them. And then just, again, you'll see all of our contact information on the website, shooting either myself or Wes an email. So mine's chris@bluecollarmarketing.ca. Obviously, Wes would be wes@bluecollarmarketing.ca. And then we have our office email too as well, which would be the office@bluecollarmarketing.ca.
Now, do you just work in Canada or US and Canada?
North America. So it's the States and Canada too as well. So we're not kind of limited by just being Canadian. The best thing for all the clients we work with in the United States, you guys basically get a 30% discount.
That's right. 30% instant discount on the currency, right? There you go.
Legit. So much stronger
than ours. $3,000 website's only going to cost $2,000. And it's for that, right? Exactly. Instant 30% discount just by being in the US. That's a good thing. Cool.
Exactly.
Okay, well.
Great. Okay, thanks guys. I appreciate you being here, and it's been great. And hope if you're interested in getting the website done, getting more traffic, I should give these guys a call.
Thanks a lot, Paul.
Yeah, thanks for having us.